Welcome to AsArt.space.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome back to AsArt with Nick and John. Today we're going to compare Hero 7 and Hero 8. Woo, let's get into it. You ready, John?
Yeah, so this is kind of fun. So I have an old GoPro Silver 4, I think. And then so Nick has the 7 and the 8. And so give us some background on why you got the 8 and the program that the GoPro's offering right now, because that's kind of an important thing.
So I had the Hero GoPro, I think it was like 4 black. And I've had 2 of those for a long time. Last year, I did like the trade up program where you can send in any digital camera. I just send in my old GoPro though, and I'll get the new one. It's $100 off, which is basically 25% off. And it's really awesome because you get to upgrade your equipment. It's great for, we like to do camping and stuff like that, me and my wife, or if you need to go in the ocean or get footage. It's great because if we do vlogs or just want to capture any kind of action thing, in general. But right away, one thing I noticed that was really interesting was they changed where the battery goes. So on the 7,
oh, interesting,
it goes on the bottom and with the card.
Typical, yeah.
And on the new one, it's on the side. It's on the opposite side of the power button.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, and it has, but the card slot's still right there, right next to it. It's the same battery, even though when I used the old battery, it's like warning, like, hey, you're using an old GoPro battery, even though it fits.
Oh, really? It tells you that. Wow.
And then mounts for the new ones, like they have plastic mounts on the bottom, so you don't even have to put a frame around it if you want to use.
Oh, I was going to say, because any housings, you would need to buy the new housings, I guess. But since, it has a mount built into it. That's cool.
Yes, and it's it's waterproof to like whatever 30 meters or whatever the thing is. But what's cool about this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to upgrade to this, they have a cool like vlog get up where you can pop off the side right here, and you can connect a mic and even like a little camera that can
which is
flip
huge
back, which is great for just daily video capturing, because having something that's smaller than the palm of your hand you just carry around, and it does 4K. I think it does like a 270 frames for slow motion at the max and stuff that. So
well, and that's one of the big things that GoPro is kind of pushing with the 7 too. Like that microphone input's a big thing, because GoPros have always had pretty good quality video, but their audio has always been lacking. And as far as getting better audio in there, you haven't had a whole lot of options in the past, correct?
Yeah, no, it's true. So I happened to go to Disneyland today. Me and my wife have the cheap pass, and we were able to go just to walk around this morning, which was fun. We tried to do Age of Resistance, but we found out, well, my wife knew. We had to get there right when the park opened, but I had to do something in the morning, so I couldn't get there in time. But there's like a whole thing with the app, but basically we did not get to go on the new Star Wars ride, which I wanted to test it out because it's like dark and stuff. And I was like, oh, this would be so cool if we could show the new ride, but fail.
So while this is playing, maybe we can just talk about GoPro in general, what they've been doing, and then the footage itself as well, and just kind of go back and forth. Now, you guys, the one thing to consider is that what you're seeing on YouTube, even in 4K, is not going to be what you would get straight off the camera. So that's one thing to remember. The compression is going to be different. So maybe, Nick, I don't know if we can maybe just make a very small little clip, and maybe we can link that in the description so they can get the raw side by side, and that way it's not getting compressed over and over. But anyway.
And then just so everyone knows, they're both at 60 frames per second, and I did not edit or composite I did not do anything to the film. It's just straight from the camera. I did use the new hypersmooth 2.0, which I think zooms in a little bit more. I always tried it with the GoPro shoot on the linear mode, so it's not as wide fish angle, so you kind of get more of a cinematic lens, even though it's not regular view. Full cinematic lens, but it's better than the ultra wide. I feel like ultra wide's great if you're doing like snowboarding or swimming under the water and you want to capture.
You're talking about the fisheye, right?
Yes, the like ultra wide, like it's basically like half of a 360. It's like a 180 degree.
Like basically the hallmark GoPro look that everybody thinks of, right? Yeah.
So let's do this. You ready, John?
Yeah, ready.
All right. So this is us walking around, and then just switch to the Hero 8. Yeah.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about in general about these cameras. So the 7 and the 8, there's definitely a difference that I saw. But the big thing about GoPro recently is once they got to the 7, they introduced the hypersmooth, right? Is that what they called it?
Yes. So the hypersmooth is on the 7, and then I have hypersmooth 2.0 on the Hero 8. So they're both extremely smooth.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, so you almost look like you're walking with the camera on a gimbal, whereas Nick's just holding these one in each hand, just walking with them side by side.
Like this. I'm just holding it like this. I have one.
And that's a big thing. So when the 7 came out, the big competition, and still competition, is the Osmo, which is by DJI, the guys who make the drones. And the Osmo, I have the original Osmo, where it's a much bigger. It's probably about this big. And it's a camera that has a handle with a little control thing on it, and it's on a motorized gimbal. And then they have the Osmo Mini, or I forgot, it's Pocket or whatever it's called, is much smaller. It's still not as small as a GoPro though, but it's much more fragile since it's a gimbal and it has all these motorized things. It can break a lot easier. Whereas the GoPros, those are meant to be very sturdy and very resilient. So, and with the Hero 8, you're getting even a better, smoother experience as well.
Yeah. No, you can really see difference. I think I have a scratch or something on my Hero 7 lens. It's a little blurry in the center, and it's just from me being very rough with my GoPros. I've always been extremely rough with my GoPros, and that's what's so great about GoPros. They're built for that kind of roughness, but I still should be a little bit more aware because you can't pop off like before in the older GoPros, you can just put it in like a full case and it would never affect the lens, but now it's like glued on because it's like all waterproof, the base, so it's like probably a bigger process to get rid of.
Can you still put a little lens protector on it or no?
You probably can.
So Nick, when you were, I looked at the video pretty closely. Obviously you sent me the side-by-side, which was probably already recompressed to begin with, but were you noticing any significant differences between the 7 and the 8?
The 8 looked smoother on the screen when I was walking.
Okay.
But other than that, the screen, I've had the 7 for a while, so I dimmed the screen on the back, so it wasn't as bright as because this is still pretty much like stock settings. The new GoPro, I literally just got it and I used it, today kind of thing. So I really didn't tweak the settings that much at all, even when it comes to the screen brightness and stuff. So the Hero 8 looked better through the screen when I was walking around, and but like that's the 7 right there. It's showing the Millennium Falcon.
That looked great.
It did not look bad. It does not look bad at all.
No, it looks ultra nice.
And then I think right here too, for this Hero 8 shot, I have the new cinematic style on this, and I think I said it in the film. I'm like cinematic, just so
on the 8. You're saying?
8. Yeah.
Because I think that crushes the blacks a little bit more. So the black levels are a little bit deeper on the 8, but that might just be that cinematic
right there
mode
too.
Yeah.
On the right,
just the way the colors coming out. Yeah. And then so in general, on most of the shots, it looked like the Hero 7 had a little bit more artifacting from compression. But remember, I'm getting a video from you, the side-by-side that you rendered the side-by-side. So that's already compressed. The 8 didn't seem like it had quite as much compression. It did seem a little bit smoother with the newer hypersmooth, but there were a few shots, maybe just was the way you were holding them with each hand, where I thought the 8 was shakier when you're going into that theater, where it was shakier and it was also more pixelated. So there was cases to be made for either one, but overall to me it looked like the 8 was a step forward. But honestly, the Hero 7 and the Hero 8 are both really big winners in my opinion, because the thing I hate more than anything when I'm shooting videos is for it to be shaky. And the smoothness factor on both of these is amazing, just considering there's no gimbal or anything. It's just all optical in the lens.
Yeah. And I think this is the shot. The Hero 7's only like $50 less, I think.
Okay, so it's not a huge difference. But this is the shot where I thought actually the 7 looked a little bit better when you were first entering, but it could have just been the hand you were holding it with.
Yeah, my shaky hand. And
let me ask you this,
I'm spinning
Nick.
Pretty fast in a dark room.
Yeah. Well, so that's the one thing that I did notice is neither one of these are going to be great in low light situations, which is just a limitation of the GoPro. So outdoors, they look like, when you look at the Millennium Falcon, it looked absolutely pristine. But when you're looking at indoor stuff, shooting indoors, there's not a whole lot of light, natural or artificial, whatever the case may be. It's not going to look that great. So to me, if you're outdoors, which is really what they're made for, it's going to look amazing.
If you
or
watch
if you're
any
shooting
of their
indoors,
ads, they're always
it's
outdoor,
always-
blue sky, like
Yes.
action stuff. Like it just that's what they're made for. That's literally what they're made for. Well, I brought it to Disneyland with daylight. I just
Yeah. So the biggest thing to me with the GoPros and how they've evolved over time is, like I said, I have an old 4 silver, and I just can't really use it unless it's mounted on a tripod because it's just so shaky. There's not really much use to it. The 7 and then the 8 have improved upon that, dramatically. You have at least with your work, you have a Ronin for your DSLR. I have the Osmo, which is DJI's version of a somewhat compact camera that's on a motorized gimbal to get smooth video. If you don't have a really ultra smooth device, do you think a GoPro is worth the $300 if you trade it in, the $400 if you don't? Is that correct, the pricing?
So if you have a 7, you could probably wait, I think, maybe until the newer one comes out and just kind of save your money. I just did it because I had a 4 and I was like, okay, I don't mind having a 7 and an 8. I almost got the Max camera because you can play
what's
with
the
the
Max?
The Max is their 360 camera, the new one.
Oh, I thought that was called a Fusion. Is it their newer one?
Yeah, I think it's called Max. That's like their new one now. And
okay.
And you could use the front half as a GoPro. It's not like you could do all the slow motion stuff as a GoPro and all that stuff.
Oh, okay,
but,
okay. And it's probably not as compact, I assume, either.
No, it's a little bit larger. It's more of a square. This is more of a rectangle. And then it's just, I don't want to say it's a pain, but it's a pain to do 360 footage because you have to like stitch it and stuff. And I mean, it's fantastic. The results you get are totally worth it, but it's just like, for me, I don't need to do 360 stuff. I'm very much into I want well, I guess it would be, I mean, it depends what you're using it for. It depends what you're going to use it for.
Portability.
If you want to, be a crazy action guy and just get anything in the frame, a 360 camera is probably going to be perfect for you. So.
And so I wanted to say I was saying earlier about how the GoPros don't do great in darker lighting situations, but say you wanted to use it as what they're trying to advertise as the vlogging camera or a video, blog and things like that. Yeah. As now that it has a microphone in, like Nick and I right now in our rooms, you don't see them on camera, but we have lighting set up so we're well lit. If you had well lit like the lighting that we have right now and someone's doing a vlog or whatever it might be, do you think the GoPro would perform well indoors in those situations?
Yeah, probably. I think it does well with like light. Like I just think it just struggles with dark, when it gets dark or dim lighting. But there's also on this new GoPro there's a night setting on it. So I have not tried the night setting. Maybe that'll be another fun little test that we do here where we can try the night setting and see what happens, because I mean they could totally have solved the issue. I mean, who knows? So also, I just wanted to show this. Here's a gimbal I have too that I do use for the GoPro sometimes, and I like it because I can add a monopod to it, so I can almost kind of get like a drone shot kind of thing if I need to.
Oh, interesting.
And but yeah, it's only like $80 too, and it does.
And if you stack that gimbal with the GoPro stabilization, do you get even better results?
Yeah, you do. You can really tell when I have a cheap gimbal for it, so you can tell when it glitches. You can really tell it glitches because it does like a like thing when it goes fake. So I have to I know it now, so I know how not to turn it and stuff. But it's not 100% the best gimbal. But when I have to hold something up really high, I know it's going to be steady-ish, because it's at the end of a pole kind of thing, and you can angle it down. I tend to use it for if I have to do a seminar and I need to walk in the background, since I don't want to fly my drone over people's heads. That's like the closest thing I get to carrying a drone with me inside a building. So
let me ask you that. So Nick and I, we shoot our videos using DSLRs, and most DSLRs cut off after a certain amount of minutes. And so that's a concern. You have to make sure and check that you don't go over time and things like that. You don't get the nice depth of field on a GoPro that you get with, say, a DSLR, something with a lens that you can swap out and things like that. Nick, do you think if someone didn't want to, so I think the entry level DSLRs cost about around what a GoPro costs, but I think like my wife has a Rebel T6, and I think it can only record like 12 or 15 minutes of video at a time. It might be like 12. So in that case, if someone's just wanting to shoot themselves with video, do you think using a GoPro would be the best way because you can, plug in a microphone, or do you think someone, if they just want to start off, their phone will be able to do just as good of a job as long as they get a jack for plugging in a microphone? Or what do you think? Do you think a GoPro?
I think it depends on how artistic they want to get with it. Like if you want to get to the point where you're also taking photos and having fun playing with light hitting lenses and stuff like that, I think you should get into DSLRs or camcorder or whatever, because it's going to lead to nicer cameras. I mean, you're going to end up spending a lot more money, but if you're just looking for something like you're going on vacation and you just want to capture moments and stuff, the GoPro does a great job. It does 4K, and that with your phone, you could probably get a lot of cool edits together. If you're going to do basic editing,
that's true. Yeah.
New phones now are fantastic with they even shoot in 4K. They have cool effects and all that stuff. So if you want to shoot with your phone, so you kind of have like a zoomed lens, and then your GoPro's like your action cam that you can cut in between water and do fun stuff like that. I mean, that's more than enough to create memories and have fun with it, and you don't have to worry about it. You can throw it and stuff. DSLRs, once you change the lenses out, you have to be careful and like the dust and everything else that goes into it, where this is just more like record, stop, and there's a raw feature for photos. So if you do want to get into like photo editing and editing raw photos, it's a great place to start. So especially if you're going to do a lot of outdoor stuff, you're going to want a wide lens anyways to probably capture like Yosemite and other places you go to, where it's not going to hurt. Yeah, and then you can also you can also put in water and take photos. Like you can't do that with a DSLR.
Cool. Yeah, please don't. I mean, you can. You're gonna have about 2 seconds. Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, so please what? All really good points. And what Nick's basically getting at is with a phone and with the GoPro, you basically have an A and B cam that one fits in your pocket, the other one fits in a small little bag, and you're set to go. And I didn't really think about that. That's really kind of one of the big benefits of having a GoPro. And again, compared to gimbal cameras, it's a lot more rugged. Yeah. So really cool stuff. So this was kind of a fun thing. Again, the difference between the Hero 7 and Hero 8 are not huge, but if you have an older generation like I do and you want a newer GoPro, then going for a 7, or if it's only $50 difference, an 8 would be amazing. And that it seems like GoPro's had that trade-in thing for over a year now. I think they're probably going to keep that. So you send in any old camcorder. It could be a camcorder from like 1998. They will give you $100 off. And we're just talking about this as fans and consumers of cameras. Like obviously we're not sponsored by GoPro or anything. We're just looking at this.
Please sponsor us.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, just looking when you had those shots of the Millennium Falcon up on the 7 and the 8, I'm like, wow, those look so super nice and sharp. And it's like, if you want nice and sharp, a DSLR, you have to worry about is it the focus being pulled correctly, and this is just kind of fire and forget unless you're indoors. Then the same thing with the phone. Then the limitations kind of get hit a little bit. But
and then
cool, thank you for putting this together.
What's cool too
Nick.
is like if you're filming on a GoPro compared to your phone, you don't have to worry about memory on your phone, or if you want to do something else. Because what's cool too is they have like time lapse features and stuff like that too, video time lapse. So there's so much more you can do where you can leave your GoPro doing a time lapse and you can still use your phone and stuff for other stuff. Or you can do a time lapse on your phone and the GoPro, and you can get 2 time lapses for your video. I mean,
that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Just be creative with whatever you have around you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Thanks for putting this together, Nick. Thank you guys for watching. If you have experience with different GoPros, if you have the 360 version, the Max or the Fusion, we'd love to hear about that as well. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next AsArt.